You might be sitting there right now, thinking that she has completely forgotten who you are. You might feel like the second you walked out of her life and shut that door, you just vanished from her mind forever. It is a very scary and lonely feeling to think that someone you cared about so much could just erase you from their memory in a heartbeat. You might feel like you do not exist to her anymore, but I want to tell you the real truth. The truth is that losing a person who is truly good and kind can stay with someone much longer than actually being with them ever did. You might think that because you are not there right now, it means you do not matter. But if you were a man who was solid and steady, then your silence is going to do something powerful. If you were one of the very few men who brought a deep soul into her life, instead of just making a lot of loud noise, then your absence is going to hit her harder than any words you could ever say. Right now, your heart is hurting a lot. It feels like there is a heavy weight on your chest, and you need to know that this pain is lying to you. It is telling you big lies every single hour. It is telling you that because she left, or because she pulled away and chose to be far from you, that you must not have been important. It is telling you that because she chose to distract herself with other things, or because she chose to let her own pride win, or because she stayed confused about what she wanted, or even if she went to talk to another man, it means you did not matter very much at all. That is a giant lie. And if you do not stop listening to that lie right now, it will turn you into a weak version of yourself that you do not even recognize. So please listen to me very clearly. I want you to join this group of caring experts if you need the kind of truth that helps clear up all the messy and tangled feelings inside your head. Because when your mind gets lonely, it starts to get desperate. It will start to make deals with your weakness just to stop the hurting for a minute. You need reminders that pull you back to what is actually real. Here is what it really feels like when a woman loses a man she could actually trust. Think about what she lost. She lost a man she could lean on when things got hard. She lost a man she felt safe with when the world was loud. She lost a man she could still respect even when they disagreed. Now, it does not always mean she feels sad the very second you leave. It does not always mean she will pick up the phone and call you tomorrow morning to say she made a mistake. It does not always mean she is going to tell her friends or anyone else how she is really feeling deep down. What it really means is that the full value of who you were often does not hit her in the moment. It hits her much later. It hits her when the sun goes down and the house is quiet. It hits her when she sees the big difference between you and the rest of the cold world. It hits her when her new dreams do not come true, and real life starts asking her to pay for the choices she made. That is the very first wrong idea you need to throw away today. You think that feeling sorry happens instantly, like a light switch. You think that if she really cared, she would have shown it the moment you left. But that is not how humans work. Feelings that happen right away are usually just about pride or excitement, or feeling a sense of relief because the fighting stopped, or even a feeling of rebellion. But feeling truly sorry for making a big mistake is much slower. Real regret needs space and time to grow. Real regret needs to bump into the hard, cold walls of real life. Real regret is what happens when the story she told herself in her head can no longer survive what life actually feels like without you in it. And that hard truth is going to hurt your pride a little bit right now, but it will also help you feel free. Sometimes she did not understand how valuable you were because you made it way too easy for her to have you. You were always there for her, no matter what. You were always answering her every single call, even late at night. You were always available to help her. You were always explaining yourself and why you did things. You were always trying to prove over and over that you had a good heart. You were always doing too much and giving your best energy for a very low price. And when something very valuable is always there for the taking, the human mind stops seeing it as something special. It starts seeing it as just something in the background, like the air we breathe every day. We do not thank the air for being there until we cannot breathe. That is called being around too much. That is called leaving yourself behind. That is called teaching people they can misunderstand how much you are worth because you keep giving yourself away without any rules or boundaries. You stop leading from your own heart. You stop protecting your own peace of mind. You stop asking for the same effort in return from her. You stop noticing when love turns into just putting on a show for others. You stop asking yourself, is this relationship actually good for my soul? And you start asking, how do I keep her from leaving me? And the very moment that becomes your main question, you have already left yourself behind. That is why so many men feel totally broken and destroyed after a breakup. It is not just because they lost her. It is because they lost themselves while they were trying so hard not to lose her. Think about that for a second. You are not just sad about the relationship ending. You are sad about the person you stopped being just to keep the relationship alive. That is why the pain feels so very deep and heavy. It is not just about being told no. It is about knowing deep down that you broke your own rules for yourself and you still did not get picked in the end. Now, let us look much deeper into why she might feel sorry about losing you more than you think. This is not because women are strange people from another planet. It is not because of a magic trick or a secret spell. It is because the way humans think is very simple when you take away the fairy tales and the movies. People hardly ever value a steady and calm life when they are addicted to things that just give them a quick thrill. People hardly ever honor a deep connection when they are still drunk on shallow things that do not matter. People hardly ever understand a calm and quiet love when their bodies have been trained to think that chaos and fighting are the same thing as passion. So, maybe she thought your steadiness was just you being boring. Maybe she thought your patience meant you had no other choices in life. Maybe she thought your quiet strength meant you did not have any feelings at all. Maybe she thought your loyalty was a sign of weakness. That happens a whole lot, especially when someone is not grown up yet, or they are hurting, or they are just looking for someone to tell them they are pretty, or they are still chasing a wild feeling instead of real peace. She might have been pulled toward things that sparkled in the light, things that teased her, things that made her feel unsure of herself, things that made her feel important for a minute, or things that felt like a drama movie. But drama only rents excitement for a little while. It never builds a real home for the heart. And this is where real life starts doing the work that your words could never do. Because once you are gone, she does not compare you to a fake version of you. She compares you to whatever comes next in her life. She compares how consistent you were to how the new guy forgets to call. She compares your calm mind to his confusion and messiness. She compares your depth to his act. She compares how much she could count on you to how he only shows up when it is easy for him. She compares your solid way of being a man to his emotional mess. And that is when her body starts to realize what her pride tried to ignore. Do you know what hurts people the most? It is not losing someone who pays attention to them. It is losing someone who has real substance. Attention is everywhere. You can get that anywhere online or at a store. But substance is very rare. Flirting is everywhere, but peace is rare. A quick spark is easy to find, but a good character is very hard to find. And if you were a man with a good character in a world full of people just putting on an act, then yes, she may really feel sorry for losing you more than you think. This is not because you were perfect, but because men who are real are very hard to replace. But listen closely to this. Making her feel sorry cannot be your goal. Her feeling sorry is just a side effect that might happen. Your real job is to fix yourself. The second you turn your life into a plan to make someone miss you, you lose all over again. Why? Because your life is still in her hands. You are still just reacting to her. You are still putting on a show. You are still letting her opinion tell you who you are. That is not power. That is being a slave to someone else. It does not matter if you wear better clothes or drive a faster car. What actually changes everything is when you understand that the deepest regret a woman can feel is not, "Oh, he begged me so hard to stay." It is, "I lost a man who knew how to love me without losing himself." That feels different. That stays in the mind for years. That echoes because now she is not remembering another needy man who is trying to hold on tight to her dress. She is remembering a man who had rules for how he should be treated. She is remembering a man who cared a lot but did not crawl on his knees. She is remembering a man who felt pain but did not let that pain erase who he was. She is remembering a man whose absence feels heavy because his presence used to bring order to her life. And let us talk about what it costs you when you do not understand this. It costs you your pride. It costs you months and sometimes even years of thinking about nothing but her. It costs you your mornings, where the very first thing you do is check her social media page to see what she is doing. It costs you your nights, where you practice talking to her in your head over and over. It costs you the time at the gym that you skip because you are too sad to move. It costs you the business you put off starting. It costs you the chances you do not see. It costs you the hard work you keep putting off. It costs you the friends you ignore. It costs you the prayers you stop saying. It costs you the books you stop reading. It costs you the sleep you stop getting. One woman leaves, and if you are not careful, you let her take your whole future with her. That price is just too high. That price is crazy. Why would you pay with your whole life just because you lost one part of your story? Why would you make your life small just because one person could not see you clearly for a while? Why would you put your life's work on hold because someone did not understand how much you are worth? That makes no sense at all. And yet, men do this every single day. They sit in a hole of sadness, paying for memories that do not give them anything back. You need a new way to look at this. A hard way, a clean way. Here it is. Her leaving was not proof that you are worth less. It was a light shining on things you couldn't see before. It showed you what you still need to build inside yourself. It showed you where you were too easy to get, where you were too hungry for her to say you were okay, where you were relying too much on her for your feelings, and where you were not focused enough on your own work. This is not to make you feel bad about yourself. It is a lesson. Pain is not always a punishment. Sometimes it is like a tool that fixes things that are broken. Sometimes life breaks a connection because that connection was breaking you. That is why this moment can become one of the most important times in your life, if you stop trying to get her back and start trying to get yourself back. Because once a man finds himself again, everything changes about him. The way he walks changes. The way he talks changes. His choices change. His rules change. His eyes look different. He becomes less interested in someone who is just pretty but has no character. He is less tempted by attention that has no good reason behind it. He is less willing to trade his peace for a little bit of fun. He stops chasing things that just look shiny and starts building things that will last forever. And that man right there, is the man she will remember forever. She will not remember the version of you that was worried and kept trying to explain things to her. She will not remember the version that kept sending long messages when she was silent. She will not remember the version that was waiting for just a tiny bit of attention. She will remember the man who became impossible to shake. She will remember the man who turned his broken heart into a clear mind. She will remember the man who let the pain make him better instead of making him smaller. Try to see that man in your head right now. He wakes up and does not listen to his own excuses. He treats his body like it is important. He exercises. He reads books. He works hard. He keeps his promises even when nobody is watching or cheering for him. He does not let his feelings leak out all the time like a broken pipe. He does not show everyone every wound he has. He knows that being quiet is not the same as being empty. It is being strong and in control. He can love someone, but he does not beg. He can feel things, but he does not fall apart like a house of cards. He can miss someone very much and still refuse to treat himself badly just to feel better for a minute. He is not a cold person. He is just a person who is in charge of himself. He is not hiding from life. He is planted firmly in it like a tree. He does not need to be the loudest person in the room to be noticed. His presence is enough because his life has order on the inside. He knows who he is even when nobody texts him back. He knows who he is even when he is lonely on a Friday night. He knows who he is when being alone tries to make him lower his rules. That is the man. That is the solid man. That is the man who is powerful in the best way possible. He is powerful because you cannot trick him by being hot and cold. He is powerful because he does not let guilt boss him around. He is powerful because a pretty face does not make him blind to the truth. He is powerful because once he sees that he is not being respected, he does not argue about it or scream. He just changes his plan. He pulls back. He moves on. He protects the good things inside him. Do you see how rare that kind of man is today? In a world full of people who are just acting, people who just react to everything they see, and men who are starving for someone to tell them they are good, the man who respects himself is someone no one can forget. He is not louder, he is just unforgettable. He is unforgettable because he gives something most people never get to feel. He gives emotional safety without being weak. He gives a man's direction without trying to control everything. He gives care without losing his own soul. When that leaves a woman's life, the silence that follows teaches her a very big lesson. And yes, she might not say it out loud to you. Pride gets in the way. Her ego gets in the way. Feeling ashamed gets in the way. New things to do show up. Social media makes a lot of noise. Friends tell her things that are only half true. A new person might take her attention away and hide the truth for a little while. But being distracted is not the same as being healed. Being busy is not the same as being truly happy. Being liked by others is not the same as being truly loved. Being wanted is not the same as being safe. Sooner or later, the room gets quiet. Sooner or later, the new things start to feel old and dusty. Sooner or later, she starts to compare. And that is when feeling sorry becomes less of a feeling and more of a realization. She really had a man who listened to her when she spoke. She had a man who really cared about her dreams. She had a man who showed up for her every time. She had a man who was trying to build something that was real and lasting. And if you were that man, then you need to understand this very clearly. Your worth was never wiped away just because she did not know how to hold on to it the right way. But now we come to the part where weak men take this message and turn it into a fantasy. They hear all this and they think, good, she will suffer. She will come back crying. She will finally see how great I am. But that is the wrong thing to focus on. That is still being a prisoner to her. If your healing depends on her feeling bad, you are still tied to her with an emotional chain. If your peace depends on her feeling sorry, you are still asking her for permission to move on with your life. That is not healing. That is just a hidden way of needing her. The goal is not to make her pay. The goal is to make your own life so good, so disciplined, so clean, and so full of purpose that it does not matter if she feels sorry or not. That is what real freedom feels like. So what do you do right now? You stop trying to make someone understand you when they are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop arguing about how much you are worth. You stop trying out for basic respect like it is a job you have to earn. You stop checking to see if your silence is making her miss you. You stop making your healing into a big show for others. You stop posting sad things that are meant for her to see. You stop acting like you do not care while you are secretly starving for her. You stop feeding your wound by always looking for something to make you feel a quick spark. Then you do this. You go quiet. Not to punish her, but to find yourself again. You take away her way of reaching you if that way makes you feel weak. You clean up your phone. You clean up your habits. You clean up the place where you live. You train your body until your mind remembers that it belongs to a man who has self-control. You fix your mornings before you try to fix your whole future. You write down all the things you let happen that should have stopped a long time ago. You write down the times you lied to yourself. You write down the rules you will never break again. You take all that energy you spent on her and you put it into your work, into your strength, into learning new skills, into making money, into your faith, into your true friends, into being the master of your own feelings, and into building a life that does not fall apart every time one person walks out of the door. Try to understand your own patterns instead of trying to understand her signals. That is where your power lives. It is not in figuring out every story she posts on the internet. It is not in wondering who she is hanging out with. It is not in trying to guess if she misses you. Ask yourself a better question. Why were you willing to stay in a place where your peace was getting smaller and smaller every day? Why did you think that working hard was the same as being a good match? Why did you keep putting your heart into something that was not clear? That is called looking at yourself. That is called being a grown man. That is called finally becoming a man who learns from life instead of just reacting to it. And if she comes back, that is fine. You will handle that moment differently this time. You will not come from a place of being hungry for love. You will come from a place of having high standards. You will not come from loneliness. You will come from a clear mind. You will not think that because she is familiar, she is the right one for you. You will not let the spark be more important than her character. You will not let feeling guilty change what really happened in the past. You will not let her in just because she knocked on the door. You will ask, what has really changed in you? You will ask, can this relationship handle the truth? And can it be consistent? And can we be responsible for our actions? And can we have peace? And if the answer is no, you will walk away calmly and cleanly, without any drama or fighting. That is what it looks like to grow. If she never comes back, that is also fine. Your life is still moving forward. Your purpose still matters. Your name still matters. Your hard work still pays off. Your future wife, your future kids, your future work, and your future peace do not go away just because one woman did not see the full weight of the man you are becoming. Life is much bigger than this one wound, but only if you decide that it is. Let me tell you the deepest reason she might feel sorry for losing you. It is not just because you were nice to her. Lots of people are nice. It is because a man who is steady and real shows how empty fake connections actually are. Once someone has seen what is deep, the acting becomes very easy to spot. Once someone has known what it feels like to be truly seen by another person, attention that is just on the surface starts to feel very thin and cheap. Once someone has had a man who is trying to build a life, protect what is good, lead with kindness, and love with honesty, then a messy life starts to lose its appeal. That is why the loss of you can echo in her mind for years. It is not because you were a perfect human.